Hey everybody, welcome back, Gearhead Daily, and I just got back from 28 years later with Mrs. Gearhead Daily, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I'm a huge movie nerd, and something that you may not know about me is I wanted to be a movie director. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to make stories. I am so enamored with the whole process that I possibly could do the same thing, and unfortunately, just never worked out. It did really help me out though in my own professional career when I was working for magazines and car magazines and learning how to shoot things and learning how to make things look good on camera and learning how, kind of tell a story through visual images. So that was really helpful in that respect. But unfortunately, I had a teacher that really killed my desire and, kind of give a crap about things. And he kind of killed my ability to watch movies with a really kind of just fun eye. Now I'm just kind of watching movies with like a really laser-like focus on shot selection and color selection and what does this mean and what is the director really telling us, and there's just so much behind it that I can't ever really watch a movie and just be entertained. I can't do that anymore. My wife, Mrs. Gearhead Daily, can really do that. I cannot. So whenever I see a movie and I have to talk about it, she often gets the brunt of my opinion. And what did you really think they meant by that, or did they use that color, or that shot was used in that certain area, or did you notice where the director's name goes? If you ever really want to know if a movie's really good or not, notice where the director chooses to put their name, because they get to choose that. So anyway, that's something that's always interested me. And you may not know about me, but I wanted to be a movie director when I was in college, and it didn't work out, but that's okay. Now, on top of that, I am a massive zombie fan. I love the zombie genre. I've seen most of them, not all of them. Some of them are kind of a little silly, but honestly, the one that really stuck out to me when I was kind of growing up, or in my kind of late teens, early 20s, was 28 Days Later. And then the sequel, which was sadly disappointing because I was a really big fan of this one. 28 Days Later was a fantastic movie with Cillian Murphy, and they knocked this one out of the park, even though it looked like it was made for about $20. It is probably one of the best zombie movies of all time. Now, they did a sequel with it, which is 28 Weeks Later, which I also own. It was in the $2 bin back when Blockbuster was a thing. And I kind of waited. I didn't go to the theater to see it. I was really looking forward to it, and I'm glad I didn't shell out any real money for it because it was a bit of a disappointment. So when 28 Years came out, I have to admit, I was a bit nervous because about how 28 Weeks came out. Now, 28 Days Later was so good, and then 28 Weeks Later really didn't have a whole lot in common with the first one, other than it was a zombie outbreak. That was pretty much it. The zombies were kind of the same, and then that was all well and good, but I think the execution was lacking in a lot of things. I really felt like the heart and soul of 28 Days, 28 Weeks, 28 Years really dropped off on 28 Weeks. Now, I was kind of a bit nervous about 28 Years Later because I saw the trailer and I thought, okay, this could be interesting, but I saw what they did with 28 Weeks Later. Now, this will contain spoilers. I cannot do a review of this movie, unfortunately, without doing a spoiler. I'm sorry, it's just the way this is going to go, because there are some things that happen in this that I absolutely love. And then there are some things that I am absolutely baffled by, okay? And we'll get to that in a second. So if you don't want any spoilers, go watch the movie, come back, see what you think. If you agree with me, that's cool. If you don't agree with me, that's also cool. That's the cool thing about movies. So I'm going to kind of put this into a couple categories, and we're going to talk about kind of the plot in the movie, and then all kind of how everything works, how the zombies work, and all that good jazz. But then also, what I'm going to do is I have kind of two rating scales. The first rating scale is a beard score. We'll just, obviously for Gearhead Daily, we need to have a beard score, so we'll put that out of 10 beards. How many beards is it? Now, mind you, I am very, very hard on movies, so if you get a 7 on a beard score, you're doing pretty good. You might have yourself a hit. Now, the other second thing I like to do is go to the theater. Do you have to see this in the theater? Do you have to rent this one? Or is this a movie that, hey, if it's on an airplane, maybe, or just don't even bother. Like, there have been several movies lately. I'm not going to name names. I might later if I get a little feisty. But there are some movies that I even refuse to watch on an airplane for free because I don't even want my phone listening to the fact that maybe I did even check that movie out. So we're going to kind of take it into two directions. So first off, 28 years later. 28 years later is based off the kind of the 28 series, 28 days, 28 weeks. And while it lives in the same universe, we'll talk about plot now. So it lives in the same universe as the first two movies. Now, are they combined? No. Basically, what happens is the zombie outbreak is contained to just England, and that's it. They kind of go in there and they talk a little bit about how the zombie virus got stopped at the border of France. They were able to fight it off, I guess, because at the very end of 28 Leader, you can kind of see the zombies running through Paris. So this one, not really related. You don't need to see the first two, really, honestly. This is pretty self-contained. If you're a zombie fan, you kind of know the genre by itself, so you don't really need that first two movies. You can just go see this by itself. And they then have to kind of explain why zombies have lived for 28 years, because kind of the general consensus among zombie aficionados would say that, hey, they're just going to starve and then they'll just die out, right? Well, they've had to invent a couple new zombies, and there's some slow zombies, there are fast zombies, and now there are alpha zombies. Again, spoilers, you've been warned ahead of time, okay? You probably saw the title. There's going to be spoilers. So there's the alpha, which is some huge jacked dude who can take a dozen arrows or bullets or whatever and still keep going. Now, on top of that, you've got your fast zombies, which are just regular zombies out for brains, right? And then you've got the slow ones, and they're slow. They're fat, they're overweight, and they eat worms off the ground, and they're not really a threat. But the alphas and the fast-moving ones are a threat. Now, the alphas are they can kind of control a small horde of them, and they're very big and tough, and they tend to be pretty smart, pretty cunning zombies, and they've been living off deer and other animals around the thing, so they've been able to sustain themselves a little bit. And the movie is done by Danny Boyle. I'm going to pull up a couple things here. You've got your main actors. Ralph Fiennes is in it. He does an excellent job, and I want to say, for the most part, we'll get into the performances in just a second, but to round out the plot, and I'll talk about some of the parts that really bothered me a little bit later, but there are some really good things to talk about too. So basically what happens is these guys live on an island. They have a causeway that shows itself with the rising of the tide. And then you are able to kind of, walk over this causeway at low tide and then walk back, and then they're in relative safety. And basically, in this village that they live in, it's sort of kind of primitive back age deal. They kind of back to the Stone Age a little bit. They're got spears and some primitive items, but mostly bows and arrows. And basically, it's a rite of passage to become a man, I guess, in this town, is they have to go out, they have to go kill their first zombie, and then they get to come back. Well, it's kind of told to the story of a young boy who survives a massacre, and then he's able to go fight these zombies. And his mom is really sick. We don't know really what's going on. We find out later. But again, there's the motivation there, but to find out if he can save his mom. His mom is very, very sick. His dad is there. He becomes disillusioned by his dad at one point, and then takes his mom out into the zombie world, which is very, very dangerous, by the way. Nobody's overpowered here. Nobody, nobody becomes like the Hulk or, does parkour or anything to kill the zombies, although we will get into parkour in just a bit. The main characters are human, and I really appreciated that. Nobody's, overpowered. It's not like, you've ranked up to level 9,000 and you've been able to, kill zombies with a swipe of whatever and just take out hordes of them. No, every single zombie is a threat, regardless if they're a slow-moving one or a fast-moving one. So he sets out to find a doctor to help his mom, and then it's an amazing part of it, and that's basically the plot. And the personal opinion part will come in later because the plot doesn't quite end there, but there is some really poignant moments. So let's talk about performances for just a second. And the main characters throughout this are a young boy, his dad, and his mom. The main character is played played by Alfie Williams, which is a fantastic rendition. His work is very, very good. Didn't really think the movie was going to center around a 12-year-old boy, but it really did, and it was fantastic. It was really, really good. So the performances all around were very good, except for a couple that I'll get to at the very end, but for the most part, the performances were very good. The cinematography, I think, does excellent. I think they do an excellent job of making it look gritty. The environments feel real. They feel lived in. They feel scary. The zombies feel great. There's no like fake looking zombie or anything. It's all very well done, and it feels like practical effects in a lot of cases, and I really appreciate that. So and the performances, top to bottom, very good, except for one minor exception that I'll talk about near the end. The script, I already told you about it, but I think the script was pretty good. People feel like real people. It felt like a lived-in town. It felt like people really did, live there. It really felt like these were real relationships, and the sick mother also felt very real, like a real plot point in it. It really did. And there's a couple of parts where I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, but it serves the story. But for the most part, it's a pretty solid movie. Now, this movie is getting currently a 7.2 on IMDb. Now, that's a fairly decent score. I don't trust a lot of these rating scales, to be honest with you. But if you gotta look at all of them, I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. I think they've been captured, but Metacritic and IMDb are not too bad. And if you get over a 7 on that, or a higher than a 70 on Metacritic, usually you're doing pretty good. So 28 years later, very good. Some of the themes through it are kind of growing up as a man, taking care of your family. What does it mean to become a man? How do you kind of prove to your family and others that you are now grown up and you can kind of handle these things? And again, handled very well. The main character, played by Alfie Williams, whose name is Spike, I think plays a 12-year-old boy who is trying to prove themselves, but really is still a 12-year-old boy, and doesn't want to kill anything. But Dad's like, no, you gotta kill these things. You gotta kill zombies. That's the way this is. It's the way of the world. And there's this dynamic between the son and the dad, and then there's a whole moment where the son becomes disillusioned by the dad, and it actually feels very real. So again, the themes of the movie are quite good, about survival and a couple other things. And there's a small humorous part in it where they run into somebody from the outside world who's from Sweden. His name is Eric. And, they have this kind of humorous moment where they're kind of comparing lives a little bit. And Eric's, from the modern world, and this guy, 12-year-old, is grown up, basically cut off from the entire world. There are boats running around England, making sure that no zombies ever get out, and their boat happened to crash. And that was it. And they were kind of marooned on the island. So, sound, again, it sounded very good. It sounded very reasonable, very plausible. No cartoony sound effects. Sound excellent. My personal opinion of the movie, and here's where this kind of comes in, and this is the part that I'm struggling with. This is the part that I've been kind of alluding to for the whole time. The movie itself is fantastic. If it weren't for the last, by God, freaking 5 minutes of the movie. The last 5 minutes of the movie almost ruined it for me. Ruined the whole movie for me. Because here's what happened. Spoiler, again, you've been warned, okay? Go away if you don't want to know what happens. At the very end of the movie, which I think was a very good thing, the boy decides he's going to live. I don't want to tell you like all of it, because there's some really poignant parts about the mom and Ralph Fiennes, who happens to be a doctor, and they have this whole thing. Please go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's extremely poignant, extremely touching, and one of the best parts of the whole movie. Now, the boy decides he's going to stay in the wild, and he's going to come back to Dad whenever he feels damn good and ready. So the boy, and we're all kind of expecting like this big tough like guy, like, oh yeah, he's made it. He's a big tough guy who can handle zombies. A zombie shows up, and he decides, he's like, you know what, I got this. Shoots the zombie. Cool. Awesome. Cool line. And then, it doesn't make him overpowered. It doesn't make him seem like he's superhuman. Like he hasn't figured out the world yet. He's still a 12-year-old boy, and I appreciated that. And all of a sudden, like a bunch of zombies, more zombies show up, and he kind of goes, oh, crap, I gotta go. He's not superhuman, and he's about to get overrun. And at the last second, he gets overrun this guy named Jimmy shows up. Now, they kind of foreshadow this in the beginning of the movie. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but now suddenly it all makes sense. There's a zombie that has been tortured early in the movie, and it's got the word Jimmy written, and they've carved it into the zombie's back. And it didn't make sense. But now suddenly Jimmy shows up, and Jimmy is in colorful tracksuits. And if you remember that scene from Mandalorian with all the like kazoo wearing, or kazoo, what do they call those, Vespa riding gangsters that are in that? It's basically all colorful tracksuit people doing parkour and torturing zombies. They do this like dance routine where they're like slice slice, kill that zombie, and then let's just torture and play with the zombies the whole time, as they're wearing these like weird European color matched tracksuits. It is so incongruous, whatever. It is so out of touch with the rest of the movie that it damn near ruined it. And my wife looked at each other like, what the hell was that? The rest of the movie was excellent. If it wasn't for that, I would have given it an 8. Now, mind you, an 8 is super high for me, okay? That is really, really high. And then at the last second, the last 2 minutes, they're like, hey, I'm Jimmy. He's got gold teeth, got big chains. He's got all these like this weird gang with him that are all color matched and like literally doing parkour while killing zombies, while doing their little hip hop, dance to it, which just absolutely kills the entire mood of the entire freaking movie. And I sat there stunned. Danny Boyle, what the hell were you doing? Cillian Murphy, you're a producer on this. What the hell were you doing? That last 30 seconds, that last 3 minutes, whatever it was abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And it was setting up the next movie, and they're like, hey, you want to join our gang, little kid? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, buddy. And then it's like, I wish the movie had stopped. I wish the movie had ended with him being cornered by these zombies, and then it faded to black. Like, we don't know what happens. Like, oh, maybe he makes it out. Maybe he doesn't make it out. Maybe he climbs the ladder and, the zombies don't get him. But no. We have parkour tracksuit people running around, hitting people with golf clubs. It was honestly embarrassing, the last little bit of it. So, okay. Do you need to see this movie in the theater? No. There are movies that you do need to see in the theater. Warfare, for example, the most recent Warfare movie. You need to see that one in the theater. You need the explosions. You need the loudness, the intenseness of the widescreen taking up most of your vision, and you need the audio to kind of punch you in the face a little bit. This one, no, it's okay. I mean, if you want to watch, you've got a big screen at home and you want to watch it in the dark, great. It's a fantastic movie. There are multiple points in this movie where the tension is so high, and you don't get the characters don't get like a moment's rest because the zombies are constantly on them and nobody ever feels safe. And that I appreciate that immensely, that part of the movie. So overall, a Beard score, it's tough. If you cut out that last 3 minutes, it's an 8. If you leave that in there, that really brings it down. I'm going to give it a 7. I still think it's worth watching. Just turn it off right after he kills that first zombie when he goes back in. So, would I recommend this movie? Yes, I would recommend that movie, and then we can all laugh at the silliness that is the end of the movie. But for the most part, it is a very solidly made zombie movie, and if you're a fan of the genre, please go see it. What did you think? Leave some comments for me. Let me know what you think. Put them down in the comments below. Did you see the movie? What'd you think? Did you see the very end? What did you think of the parkour whatever gang? I don't even know what to call them. The tracksuit gang, the color coordinated, tracksuit gang. So anyway, I saw the movie. 7 out of 10 beards. Don't need to see it in the theater. You can rent it at home. That's totally fine. You can wait for it on streaming. But for the most part, this is one you probably should see if you're a fan of the zombie genre. And that's all I got for today. See ya.